Alec Baldwin pleads not guilty to manslaughter charge. Thai court rules campaign to end royal insult law. Boris Nadezhdin submits a bid to run for Russian president. US F-16 jet fighter crashes off South Korea. PayPal cuts 2,500 jobs in the face of rising competition. Adidas says it plans to sell remaining Yeezy sneakers.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, February 2nd, and here are your top stories. Hollywood actor Alec Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter over the death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Ms. Hutchins was shot dead on the set of Rust, a forthcoming Western filmed near Santa Fe in New Mexico in October 2021. Mr. Baldwin, 65, had been practicing firing a pistol for a scene. Similar charges were dropped in April, just 2 weeks before he was due to go on trial. But New Mexico prosecutors say there is new forensic evidence. The actor entered the not guilty plea in a court filing on Wednesday.
Alec Baldwin pleaded not guilty on Wednesday to charges of involuntary manslaughter at a Santa Fe court.
He was charged on the 19th of January in New Mexico after local prosecutors said additional facts had emerged from forensic tests on the weapon used in the shooting, in which director Joel Souza was also wounded. Mr. Baldwin has maintained he did not pull the trigger of the Colt .45 pistol and only drew back its hammer. However, FBI report concluded, although Alec Baldwin repeatedly denies pulling the trigger, given the tests, findings and observations reported here, the trigger had to be pulled or depressed sufficiently to release the fully cocked or retracted hammer of the evidence revolver. The actor, who has expressed shock and sadness at Ms. Hutchins' death, said in recent court filings that he had struggled to find acting work since the incident.
Thailand's Constitutional Court ruled Wednesday that the Progressive Move Forward Party must cease advocating amending the law on royal defamation, a decision that leaves the party vulnerable to being dissolved. The court's 9 judges deemed it unconstitutional to advocate a change in Article 112 in the country's criminal code, which protects the royal institution from criticism by imposing severe penalties on those found to violate it, including up to 15 years in jail per offense. Critics say the law is often wielded as a tool to quash political dissent. Student-led pro-democracy protests beginning in 2020 openly criticized the monarchy, previously a taboo subject, leading to vigorous prosecutions under the law.
According to Thai Lawyers for Human Rights, since those protests, more than 260 people have been charged with the offense. The Move Forward Party came in first in the 2023 general election, campaigning heavily on making an effort to amend Article 112, along with other democratic reforms. The win suggested Thai voters were ready for change after nearly a decade of military-controlled government. But the military-installed Senate effectively blocked the party from power when they refused to approve then-party leader Pita Limjaroenrat as prime minister. Senators said they opposed Pita because of his intention to seek reforms to the monarchy. Both the party and its critics say the decision paves the way for follow-up legal action that could see the party dissolved.
Boris Nadezhdin, a prominent critic of the Kremlin, has submitted the documents needed to register as a candidate for Russia's presidential elections in March. The 60-year-old local councillor, who has promised to end Russia's war in Ukraine, said on Wednesday that he had collected more than 100,000 signatures of support across 40 regions and submitted them and other documents to the Central Election Commission, which is technically enough to challenge President Vladimir Putin. Election officials will next check the authenticity of the signatures submitted by Nadezhdin and other potential candidates and announce next month who will join Putin on the ballot for the March 15th to 17th elections.
This anti-war candidate says he's got enough signatures to challenge Vladimir Putin in Russia's presidential election in March.
The electoral body has in the past uncovered what it claimed were irregularities in signatures or documents collected by some candidates and disqualified them. According to his supporters, Putin, who will be running as an independent rather than as the candidate of the ruling United Russia Party, needs 300,000 signatures but has already collected more than 3.5 million. In December, the 71-year-old incumbent announced his decision to seek to extend his rule. He is almost certain to win a 5th term as president, extending his 24-year leadership of Russia, including 8 years as prime minister.
A US F-16 Fighting Falcon fighter jet crashed Wednesday off the west coast of South Korea after experiencing an in-flight emergency, the US military said, adding the pilot was rescued after safely ejecting from the aircraft. Colonel Matthew Getk, the 8th Fighter Wing commander, said in the statement, the pilot is conscious and was transported to a medical facility for assessment. He said the incident is under investigation, and he expressed appreciation to South Korean rescue forces and U.S. personnel for the swift recovery of the pilot. He added, now we will shift our focus to search and recovery of the aircraft.
According to a statement from Kunsan Air Base, the incident occurred during a training mission over the waters west of the Korean peninsula around 8:41 a.m. local time, about 180 kilometers south of the capital Seoul. The incident is the second in about 6 weeks for the U.S. military in South Korea, following the crash of a U.S. F-16 jet on a training mission into waters off the country's coast in mid-December. The cause of that incident was also an in-flight emergency, the U.S. 8th Fighter Wing said in a statement at the time. The F-16 from Lockheed Martin Corp. Has been in operation since the late 1970s, and the U.S. had an inventory of more than 1,000 of the aircraft as of September 2021, the U.S. Air Force said on its webpage for the Fighting Falcon.
PayPal says it will cut another 2,500 jobs, or 9% of its global workforce, a year after making a similar move. Chief Executive Officer Alec told staff that the decision was made to right-size the company through both direct reductions and the elimination of open roles. The digital payments giant said the staff who are affected will be notified by the end of the week. PayPal faces rising competition from rivals such as Apple, Zelle, and Block. Mr. Chris was brought in from software company Intuit last year to help turn around PayPal. Investors hoped that he would be able to revive the company's share price, which has fallen by more than 20% in the past 12 months.
In November, the PayPal reported its first earnings under its new boss, which topped analysts' expectations, giving investors some hope that its turnaround was underway. Last week, the firm launched new artificial intelligence-driven products as well as a one-click checkout feature. The latest job cuts follow tens of thousands of layoffs by other technology giants in recent months. In just the last month, almost 100 tech firms, including Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, TikTok, and Salesforce, have announced a total of 25,000 job cuts. Last year, executives blamed job losses on the pandemic hiring spree and high inflation, which resulted in weak consumer demand. However, some technology industry workers are fighting back. Earlier this month, a union representing workers at Google said it was needless for the tech giant to cut hundreds of jobs when it makes billions of dollars a year.
Adidas announced on Wednesday that it won't write off the majority of its unsold Yeezy inventory and instead plans to sell the remaining shoes at least at the cost it paid for them, as the apparel retailer looks to recoup its losses. The German sportswear giant had previously considered writing off about $325 million in unsold Yeezy inventory after the company cut ties with rapper E, formerly known as Kanye West, over a series of anti-Semitic remarks he made. In its announcement, Adidas said it managed to generate an operating profit of 268 million euros in 2023 after it originally forecast a loss of 100 million euros.
The company attributed the profit to its better-than-expected operational business during its fourth quarter and the decision to sell the majority of the remaining Yeezy inventory. Adidas said in a news release, following the latest decision, the 2023 operating profit now only includes a low double-digit million amount of Yeezy-related inventory write-offs. Instead, the company plans to sell the remaining Yeezy product at least at cost in 2024. CEO Bjorn Gulden added, "Our consumer, retail and trade research has shown that we can sell this remaining inventory in 2024 for at least the cost price. This is why we have only written off inventory that was either damaged or very broken in sizes."
The answer for yesterday was B, provision. He backed a provision that would allow judges to delay granting a divorce decree in some cases. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of PayPal cuts 2,500 jobs in the face of rising competition. Number 1, workforce. 全体员工. The factory has a 1,000-strong workforce. Number 2, elimination. 消除. Find which food you are allergic to by a process of elimination. Number 3, pandemic. 大流行病，全球传染病. One pandemic of Spanish flu took nearly 22 million lives worldwide. Next, we have a multiple-choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.